What's going on, awesome people? It's a pleasure to virtually see you all. It's Tuesday, January 10th. Holy crap, the month is flying by. As usual, I hope that you're doing as well as you can be given the circumstances. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, which is why I feel the need to do so many of these IG lives, because it's the only thing that I can do that gives me a little bit of sense of sanity and sense of hamdardi, like you just kind of know that somebody else is going through a similar, it's not even a challenge. I mean, it's tragedy, it's eternal grief, it's different level of trauma. I mean, it's really something that many of us have never experienced. Some of you who may have experienced it from the 79 revolution, then I'm sure you know, but for many of us, it's the first time we're going through it, and nothing really prepares you for it. The only thing that I've been able to do to kind of handle the magnitude of stress and pressure and just psychological torture is by having the community like you guys. It's by having the uniters that unite and conquer. It's by having these conversations with other people in the hopes that my conversations with other people can somehow perhaps make somebody else's day a little bit better. So I welcome you to consider this chat here as a little virtual home for you for the next 30-40 minutes when I have this IG live with one of our awesome uniters, Amoo Nader, as we call him. He's actually Nader Ramsi, but he's been Amoo Nader for a few months now, ever since we've been having all these protests in South Florida. I look forward to having him on in a couple of minutes, which, by the way, Amoo Nader, please be sure to click the button so you can request to join. I don't see your notification yet. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar, next Wednesday, January 18th, is a pretty big day for me. It's a pretty big day for our uniters because we're launching Countdown to Freedom in Iran. And if you have not heard of Countdown to Freedom in Iran, we're kind of like doing this as a follow-up to our November 11th live stream rally for Iran, which was a 12-hour live stream that we did with a ton of amazing guests. I'm doing a lot of great stuff, bringing awareness to what's happening in Iran. After we did that program and after it was so well received, we knew that we needed to continue doing it. We just didn't know exactly what format, what shape, and all that good stuff. But we decided to do a weekly series, and it'll be premiering on Wednesday, January 18th. And you can click the link in my bio to get more information about what Countdown to Freedom in Iran is. But essentially, it's about a 90-minute program. We're going to be having one special guest every time where we talk about 30-40 minutes. And I'll be announcing the January 18th guest hopefully by Thursday. It's going to be a great guest. Every week, it's going to be one great, impactful guest that is really making headway and making a lot of noise about what's happening in Iran. And I'm sure you agree that right now, we just need as many people to make as much noise about Iran. That's literally, our hands are kind of tied behind the back of what we can do, but that's the least that we can do. So we're working on all that. But basically, the series that has a great conversation going, a long form conversation. We're going to be talking about latest news, latest updates, call to action items. It's going to definitely be honoring the victims. And if there's anybody that is in imminent danger for execution, we're going to make sure we highlight their names so that all of you that will be tuning in, you can then amplify their names in the hopes that it delays and eventually eliminates them from the line of execution. And so it's tough conversation, guys. I got to tell you, I hate talking about this kind of stuff. It's very, very difficult. So once in a while, if I'm lacking the proper words, please accept my apology. It's not cool. You know, this is becoming a type of our life right now. And we need to continue to uplift each other. We need to continue to be there for each other. We need to continue to think about different ways that we can recommend to other people about how to make it through the day. I'm dealing with some heavy anxiety the last couple of days. It's really insane because like no matter what we're doing, you just constantly feel like it's not enough. And so I have a feeling many of you can relate to it. But whatever it is, we got to keep on doing it. We got to continue doing our best. And hopefully our best will lead to this nightmare coming to a close very soon, and our people being liberated and a free Iran becoming a reality. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, these IG Lives, I've been doing them with as many of our uniters as possible. If you don't know what a uniter is, at Unite and Conquer, our mission is to unite Iranians and to, at this point, have events that amplify the voice of Iranians. And as we get ready for the countdown series that's starting next January 18th, I've been doing a bunch of these IG Lives with our uniters because, one, I want to introduce these awesome people to all of you who may not know who they are. They are extremely special to me in my life. They've been helping me venture through this challenging journey the last few months. And so I just want to do my part to shine a spotlight on them, show my appreciation for them, and just recognize their heart and soul into what we've been doing. And so today it's going to be Amoo Nader, Nader Ramsi. He's a real estate professional and consultant, currently in his 15th and, as he calls it, his best year in real estate. And so I hope that his business continues to thrive, because we need our entrepreneurs and our business professionals to thrive professionally so that they can be in a healthier mindset to do all the things they're doing for Iran. So always root for whoever has any kind of business or their job. We need everybody to be doing well at their job so they can do whatever they can for Iran. So I'm glad that he's at least professionally having a great year. He specializes in all purchase or sales situations, investment properties, new construction, value-add assets, office buildings, multifamilies, luxury homes, estates, and more. So I'm happy to bring Amoo Nader, and if you're a uniter, say Amoo Nader. Just when you see him right now, you're gonna see why we say Amoo Nader. He just has the look and feel of an Amoo Nader. So, and I hope that he has a tray with him too.
Hi.
Amoo Nader, درود بر شما. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope you can
okay.
hear me okay, yes? All right. No chai, just a little juice.
Well, I wish that we could be doing these type of IG Lives under better circumstances. So I appreciate you coming on and having these tough conversations openly. So I welcome you. And I just want you to kind of start by giving a little background about yourself for those of you who don't have the pleasure of knowing Amoo Nader.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I left Iran actually when I was a teenager, back in 1973. I lived in England for about 5 years, and then when the revolution took place, my parents came, to do with, religious minority. So they came to the state, and I joined them then. So it's been a very eye-opening experience of what's been going on. And being of a Bahai background, I have experienced all of these that is going on now, back then, because of the pressure that was on the Bahai people, and having a member of a family that was also executed. So I've always wanted to know if there's anything I can do. I've always wanted to know how can anybody get the word out. Of course, back then it was totally different. They were new, and then they were just going about, and not many people were hearing things. But we are still witnessing everything that's going on. And then this just added to the fuel, to the fire, and which made, so for me, it's like a deja vu all over again. And I'm seeing what's happening to our brothers and sisters and our, people in Iran. So I feel, the love, I feel what is going on here, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So, when you come from a background where your family comes out, and I'm sure a lot of people could relate to this, your whole family had to start all over again, with the hope that, well, they came out, but, with the hope that they could one day go back. But that never happened, so that was a big blow. So for me as a teenager was a very big adjustment to see, well, what can I do to to be able to support, my parents, my family, and I don't have to go through this, and I don't have to, So it was a very big adjustment, but you know what? If you stay focused, you can go and get it done, whatever it is that you want to get, that you want to do. Life has been good. I can't complain. Since we came to the state, I'm happy that my parents, my family have all been at least safe in that sense. Life goes on, and so I started my education here and back in England, and then in the U.S. I finished, and the rest of it, is
history. So you brought up a couple of
history,
things that I
I guess.
definitely want to go deeper on. I'll get to the Baha'i faith part a little bit after this first question, but you bring a different perspective that many of our uniters and really a lot of people have not experienced, and that is that you were there for the original '79 revolution, and you were a young teenager at the time. I want you to kind of tell me about the difference between how things were when you saw or were listening to what's happening in the '79 revolution, and how they were being the brutal regime right from the get-go, and how it kind of like differs from now. What are the similarities? What are the differences?
Well, actually, I left Iran in 1973, so it was about 5, 6 years before the revolution. But my parents left right when the revolution took place, so there was still time to get out. Back then the focus was on, well, maybe it's going to be a better life. People were looking forward to it. However, on our part, my uncle was just executed, and they were after some other, member of the families, and the overwhelming feelings then was such that, okay, what do we do? How do we get out? And luckily they did. They were able to get out because it was very early stages. What is happening now compared to what had happened then, it's a totally different. To me, it's a totally different, because there they had a regime, with the Shah that was in place, that everybody thought, well, they're bad. They have the Savak. They do this. They do that. And these were the older people. These were the people that were more of a religious background. They were more for the religion, and I think people really got cheated, and they got tricked into changing the revolution. Not to mention what had taken place through other countries that that made this possible. So similarities are pretty much the same, because for me it just keeps bringing back what had happened to the Baha'is, and now I see what is, and today still happening. Today still happening to the Baha'i people. They're being arrested. They're being same as what's going on with everybody else. This just sometimes it takes some time to realize that the decision that was made was unfortunately not the right one, and I hope that this revolution that's taking place will be successful and will go through, and we'll have a free Iran.
I know
it's
that,
unbelievable.
I know that Sherry, she discussed it briefly about a little background about the Baha'i faith and how they've been, treated and persecuted in Iran. For those who might not know the story, can you give people a little background about the Baha'i faith and how, the challenges they've had with living inside of Iran in the last 44 years?
Sure. Well, the Baha'i faith is a pretty new religion, pretty new faith, which came about back in 1844. The principles of the Baha'i faith and the teachings of the Baha'i faith is really the same as any other religion. It's just that time will change, and everything will change with time. Having the laws and that came about during Islam, during Christianity, during Judaism, is no longer applies to today's society. So what the Baha'i say is that, you know, the spiritual teaching is always the same because, you know, nobody came and said, okay, you know, kill your neighbor. Nobody came and said, steal or do this or do that. Everybody's saying, you know, the same thing, except the social teachings had changed because according to the time, according to the understanding of people, we are at the age of that infancy is pretty much finished. Now we are able to investigate for ourselves. Now we could understand, we could, you know, see what, you know, what is going on, what is good and what is bad. The way is there, you know. Being a Bahai, just because I was born into a Bahai faith, I was not forced to believe in the Bahai faith. I did my own investigations, and which is one of the principles of the Bahai faith, which is a total investigation of truth, independent investigation of truth. That you are now at an age, at a stage where you could actually investigate for yourself and see what is right and what is wrong. You know, we look at the earth as a school, if you would, and we look at the prophets, the manifestations, as the teachers, and the people as the students. Now we look at a first grader that starts at the first grade and keeps going on in progress to second, third, and then all the way to, you know, universities and so forth, and even higher education. So that never stops. That learning process never stops. However, the station of the manifestation of the teachers are the same. The person that teaches at the second level has the same station as a professor that teaches at, you know, at the college level, at a university level. So, but if they start teaching you algebra or you know, some of the, you know, higher education when you're on the second grade, obviously you don't understand it. So you have to go through the basics. You have to go through the 1+1s and ABCs and all that in order to. So that's pretty much, and you know, the station of the prophets are the same. Everything is the same, except it changes according to the time. And today, time is that we are free to investigate. You know, we look at the purpose of a religion. We believe as Baha'is that the purpose of a religion is to bring unity among mankind and not to create diversity. But unfortunately, what is happening, that's exactly what's happening. It is creating diversity. You know, you look at different religions that have different groups. You walk, you know, anywhere you go, any corner, there is a church. You walk in and they all talking about Christ. They're all teaching the Christ. However, they have different beliefs. That just doesn't apply anymore. That just doesn't. It's progressive. It has to continue from time to time that somebody comes and say, you know what? Okay, this is the teaching. This is what's been going on, but this is how it's going to be applied. And that's, you know, other principles that we have, you know, regarding the Baha'i faith are gender equality. I'm sure maybe Sherry has gone through that. You know, man and a woman are two wings of a bird, and it cannot fly with just one wing. So there has to be equality between man and woman. Other ones, you know, Baha'is don't involve in politics, but we do. Science and religion definitely go hand in hand, not politics, because we can see what politics is doing, you know, to the world and what's happening, you know, in religion.
Let me interrupt you here for a second. You just said right now that in the Baha'i faith, you're not supposed to be involved in politics. In the past few months, have you had any challenges with being involved to the capacity that you have been? Like, did you have to explain yourself to anybody, or is there any kind of pushback, anything that you have to be worried about, or is this a different situation? I'd love to hear your take on this.
Honestly, not really. I mean, we had discussions, you know, and when everything was cleared up, I mean, they understood. I don't look at myself as a politician or somebody that gets involved in politics and wants to make changes, because that's not the way, and I understand it, and I would never go that route. So my efforts here is, you know, to try to unify people, try to get the word out. This is a, we could, reach what's going on to the world and let everybody know that, what is happening. So to me, that's not politics. I don't think to anybody that's politics. Now, if I get on TV and if I get on, start talking about what the government should be and how the government should then that becomes more political than anything else, which I have no view on that, which I have no, I could not have any comments on that. So that's answer to your question. Not really. It hasn't, it hasn't been, in that way. And, to become a Bahai, you don't have to school for it. You don't have to, go to any kind of a ceremony. You don't have to be, it's a free will. There's a card you sign and you become involved, and only to promote peace and love. That's all it is. I mean, I think love conquers all is what's been going on. I hear so many things. I get so many messages, from Iran, from all over the world, and it clearly indicates that yes, what we need today is love. If we could establish that, I think, a lot of our problems would be solved.
Let me ask you, I think that you will agree that many of us right now, especially in the last couple of weeks, ever since the executions have begun, are in a very fragile mental state, emotional state. What are some of the things that you're doing to kind of have some type of balance, some kind of sanity? How much of your faith is intertwined into how you're going about the days? If you have any type of wisdom you'd like to share, that would be greatly appreciated.
Well, that's not unusual. This is something a lot of people, even myself, I mean, even in the past few days, being in touch with the Uniters. What happened a few days ago when they hanged, the young guys, that, to me, that was a big blow. I mean, literally, I was so beside myself and I was so numb that I couldn't even think. I couldn't sleep. I mean, that night I was up all night. But there is an old saying that says, if you don't take care of yourself, where are you going to live? So you need to attend to yourself, to your heart. You need to see what's happening and what you can do. There's a lot of things that goes through people's mind, a lot of things that people want to do, including myself. But when you really think, we are doing plenty, and we hope and we can only pray that this will take place and this will get to where we want it to get, and we're going to take it to where it needs to go. But as far as everybody's different, everybody's situation is unique. Some people, react differently. Some people, it doesn't faze them, even though inside they're dying. But when you think about the people that are in Iran, that should be some indication that, what, you're not there. You're blessed, perhaps, that you're not there. So think a little more straight. Take that upon yourself, that let's be the voice. Let's be the voice of people that are back there, because that's the least we can do. We cannot pick up arms and go fight anybody. So I think people need to tend to themselves and get themselves, whether through meditations, whether through praying, whether through, I started doing gardening for about 6 hours that next day. As Shadajun mentioned, said you will be grounded, which is good, and it would help, and it did. I mean, I had that in mind anyway, but it just turned to be, it was perfect timing, and not that I didn't think about it, but my mind, my conscience was a little more relieved that, what, all of this that's going on, well, I am doing. You have to realize that you are very effective. You're doing your job. You have to know that. If you know that, if you could recognize that, that you're doing everything that you can to the best of your ability, that should give you some comfort. But you have to take care of yourself. You have to be mindful of what is going on. You have to be mindful of what is happening to you, because it can break you. I mean, it literally can break you. And luckily we have some professionals in our team that are always there to help, that are always there to assist, and that's a
Oh, for
blessing
sure.
by
I keep on
itself.
calling our entire group like my whole therapy group, so it's a great outlet for sure.
Yeah.
One thing that we've been noticing at Uniters and maybe people that are involved in different parts of the world in organizing protests, there's been a very evident drop-off in involvement from volunteers to even certain people that were leading certain things. What can we do to be able to reignite things and be able to galvanize the communities, not just South Florida? I'm really just trying to see what type of things that we can do to get more people to make more noise, because I feel as though that is the least that we can do, and there's been a little bit of a drop-off all across the board. I'm not just trying to single out South Florida. What do you think that we can do to get other Iranians back on track and also perhaps get the attention of non-Iranians?
Well, I think the awareness is one thing. For me, I'm always look at things from the end result rather than, okay, what I'm going to do here, what do I have to do, what steps do I have to take. If you can keep the end result in mind, I think the ways will open up. I mean, you gotta look. I mean, we've come a long way. I mean, we've done so much, and it has been. Not everybody's aware. Now, of course, there's going to be people that are going to drop off. There's going to be people that are, maybe family reasons, maybe personal reasons. Who knows? But I think we just need to stay focused, and we need to do what we're doing. And the rest of it will take care of itself. The rest of it will come in. We've had many, many people that actually joined. We've had, I mean, I'm getting messages from Iran which blew my mind, and I don't even know these people. Thanking us for what we're doing, trying to make this a global awareness of what's going on. They're thanking. So I think you need to thank yourself that how far and how much, and it's all because of you. I mean, you gotta, we all admit that. If it wasn't because of your initiative, I probably wouldn't be there. I'd probably be doing what I'm doing. But that by itself, and you know what? When people take a step towards something good, the feeling of that gratifying feeling, it just multiplies. It just goes.
The reason why I bring
endless.
this up is because I'm going to use you as a perfect example of how somebody. Well, let me ask you this: do you remember how many Instagram followers you had before the pandemic began? How many did you have?
Yes. Yes.
Well,
I had maybe about 400.
I have one video that has a lot of views. How many views does that one video have?
Well, I'm getting close to 2 million.
You are the perfect example of how you don't have to have a big network to make a big impact. Is that with today's technology, you're able to take a social media account that had a few hundred followers and reach 2 million people. And that video was from a protest that I was actually out of town for, but you and a handful of other Uniters put together on 3 days' notice. And you brought about maybe 30, 40, 50 people, so it wasn't even like thousands or hundreds of people. Tell us more about that experience and how you yourself saw how a small crowd gathering together, a small social media following, reaches to massive global impact.
Well, what was evident for me, for me, the experience is every time I go to these gatherings, I become someone different. it's literally like I'm selfless. I don't know myself anymore. I'm just so in it that me doesn't matter anymore, and only because of the cause that we're going for. Uh, the people that hung their horns, total strangers, shouting out, "We're with you. We're supporting you." I mean, that all makes it even, better. It gives you a better hope, better feeling of what you're really doing is definitely paying off, and it's really showing. And all the feelings that came about, especially with that video, when I saw that moment, uh, you know, I wasn't thinking about Instagram. I wasn't thinking about anything. I said, God, I gotta take this because this shows a true feeling of someone who loves, her country, and which happened to be Sarajun, and it was. I mean, I swear. I mean, I was hardly ever involved in social media, before. So for me, it didn't really matter. But I just wanted to capture that moment, and because it was true to me, she was crying, I was crying, uh, and whoever is watching it now, they're making comments, and it's all correct. So it was an unbelievable feeling that I will never forget. But that's how I feel. That's how I feel anytime I connect with you guys, anytime I go and try to uh, be a part of uh, making this awareness to the world. It's for me, that's the best thing. I don't, social media is nice, but I've never been involved in it as much. But I could see what kind of impact it has, like you said. I could see, and does it make me any better person? No, I'm who I am. But it was a moment that needed to be seen. It was a moment that needed to be captured. If anything, just for me and for everybody else that were there. So it was an unbelievable, awesome feeling that came up, just like any other gatherings that we had, just like any other that we put together. And you know what? I'm thankful to every one of you guys. You're my family. You're a family that I haven't
Yeah,
had for many
and we
years.
all got lucky with the
So
new Amoo too, so it's great for us as well. But but yeah, I mean, what I really liked about it is the fact that for those who don't know, South Florida has an estimated 10,000 Iranians, which is considered a relatively small community, especially in American cities. And so, if anybody here is watching and that you are in a city where you think that there aren't that many Iranians, just know that all it takes is for 5, 10 freedom-loving, Iran-loving people to come together and strategize and just do something on behalf of our people inside of Iran. And if you do that, a lot of magic can happen. A lot of great relationships can be created. Friendships can be created. New families will be created. And you're able to also perhaps reach a mass audience, which is what we're all trying to do. And so I appreciate what you're doing, Amoo Nader. I was going to talk a little bit about real estate, but it's kind of hard to transition out of it. But what I do want to tell is that if anybody has any questions about real estate in Florida, especially South Florida, I know I can just speak on behalf of Amoo Nader that you could just message him directly. And he's such a helpful and kind, loving person that I know that he's great at his job as well. And how can they contact you, Amoo Nader?
my phone number
One
954-557-2425.
more time.
954-557-2425. Very easy. My website is NaderRamsi at NaderRamsi.com, basically. And my email address, NaderRamsi at gmail.com. So pretty straightforward. And real estate market, I know there's a lot of things that's going on that everybody has an opinion on it, anywhere from Wall Street and to my grandmother, So it's not a don't get disappointed or don't get discouraged. The market's still strong. Just to give you a little bit, still strong. Inventory is still low. I mean, there are things happening with the interest rates and everything, with the inflation, but just proceed, but proceed with caution. And any question, like you said, I'll be more than happy to.
And Hala, thank you so much for saying that you want to support us. Feel free to message me. I'll let you know a couple of different ways that you can get more involved if you like with the things that we're doing. And that goes for really anybody that's tuning in. We appreciate you watching. You can follow at Let's Unite and Conquer. We're based out of South Florida, but we're doing a lot of content globally, and we'd love to have you all involved in any capacity. Amoo Nader, do you have any parting words that you'd like to share?
Yeah, it's actually a Bahai quote, very simple. I have it in my email also when I send it out. It says, "So powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth." So, and that's the whole idea here. We need to get united.
That's right.
I think.
Well, thank you so much, Amoo Nader, for being such a kind soul in our Uniters family. We appreciate you very much. I appreciate all the effort that you put into everything that you're doing, and you're always a calm voice that is able to soothe us whenever we're dark, So appreciate you. Love you very much. And the omide, azadi.
Thank you.
All right.
Begu.
Of course. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Amoo Nader logs off. I want to thank you all for joining us for another episode of Awesome People Instagram Live. You can check out the past episodes on the Unite and Conquer YouTube channel. Tomorrow I'm going to be having another awesome uniter, Shada Nikpur, who's a licensed clinical social worker. We're going to be talking about mental health because, well, that is literally what we're all dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And so tomorrow at 11 a.m., we'll be having a virtual conversation with her, and I'm looking forward to that great conversation. She's been an incredible force at Unite and Conquer with all the things that she's been doing, and we appreciate her very much. And then just another friendly reminder that Wednesday, January 18th, I can officially say next Wednesday evening, it is the launch, the premiere of Countdown to Freedom in Iran. It's going to be our weekly series. We're going to have incredible guests. We're going to be honoring the victims that we've lost too soon, and we're going to be making sure that we keep you up to date with all the latest news. We're essentially trying to be your trusted source for news and events. So mark your calendars for next Wednesday, January 18th. The guests and the exact time will be announced in just a couple of days. Stay tuned. And for more information on how to support Countdown, click the link in my bio. Be sure to follow at Let's Unite and Conquer. Be sure to click subscribe on the Unite and Conquer YouTube channel. Like it, comment, give us feedback. And also, before I let you go, if you have a recommendation on who you would like for us to have as our guest, our primetime guest, a 30-40 minute conversation, if you can think of one English-speaking person, Iranian or non-Iranian, that you would want to have as our guest, you can direct message me. You can drop it in the comments right now before I sign off, because the idea is that we keep on having conversations with the people that you want to hear from the most. So if there are certain names of people that are coming to mind that you're seeing that they're proactively, consistently, loudly informing, educating, and they have no political affiliation, and they're solely focused on being the voice of Iranians, those are our types of guests. Those are the people that we want to shine the spotlight on. Those are the people that everybody should want to be shining a spotlight on, because we need to be heard, and we're not loud enough. We're loud, but we need to be louder. And so, Carlos, appreciate the recommendation. Thank you so much. I'll make a note. And yeah, so much love. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your soul. Take care of your heart. Make sure you exercise. That reminds me, I need to go exercise today. And stay more optimistic. Have faith. Have hope. And I'm going to log off. But if you have any recommendations, message me the Instagram page of whoever else that you have in mind. Thank you so much, Bab. The omide, azadi.